around the clock, sports all the time. That's never going to work. That's ridiculous.
Just remember to have fun out there today. And if you lose, I'll kill you.
This is Tall Can Audio.
Seriously, this thing is going to be a cultural disaster.
Oh yeah, the cultural disaster rolls on, finally back into it after a very busy Thanksgiving long weekend, at least in the sports world. It's Matt Robinson here in the TCA Studio, finally joined once again in person by Steve Bunda. What's happening, man?
You know what, Matty? I'm great, first off. That's what's happening. I'm great.
You are great.
It's 17 days till Halloween as the time of recording. So whatever it is, maybe
your
16
Instagram
days.
has been themed now for quite a while.
It is, right? It's Halloween movies, it's everything. But also seeing you in person, being back in the studio, everything seems to be all good.
Yeah.
I got off on the wrong floor, almost like I didn't remember how to get here. Maybe it was all the Tall Can Audio fans outside with their pitchforks and lanterns and they're getting this idiot. We thought we banned you from the studio. I am back. I'm here in the studio. It's good to see you. How you doing, man?
Things are great, honestly. And yeah, you referenced it there. The last several times you've been on, they've been sort of cottage to cottage podcasts or whatever throughout the summer.
I don't think either of us came to a conclusion of when the last time I was in here was.
No, but it's been a while, right?
Let's go with May or June.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
The floor was still all torn up. Maybe the road was too out front. I can't remember.
The road was definitely torn up the last time I was here. I do remember that because I remember trying to turn left into here and it was just a nightmare.
Right. So, yeah, we've done a few of these online and chatted that way. But yeah, it's been a while since you've been in studio, man. I appreciate you coming back. Couple things for you, but let's start with the beers. Where are you going with?
I didn't forget how to do this podcast, but and look, I gotta be honest. I saw your posting the other day on social media. You posted one of the coolest beer cans I've ever seen, and I was like, man, I really hope he has one of those because not only does the beer can look good, but I love a good New England IPA.
Right,
and you posted the Collective Arts Good Monster New England IPA 8%. But it's got a big monkey on it with some aviators and a toque, and I am digging it. And you know what? I'll even say it's a Sasquatch, not a monkey.
Okay.
It's a Sasquatch. Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna dive into this one and let you know how much I like if it tastes as good as the can looks. But yeah, I love it.
Well, Collective Arts, right? They don't miss when it comes to their can art, right? Like their beers are good, but also like the art is always fantastic.
Oh, and that's nice and strong and tasty too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you call it? Not a Yeti, but a Sasquatch. Yeah. The Apex Predator, which I'm only trying to squeeze in and make fit because later tonight the Leafs play the Predators and the Sens just finished playing the Predators. We'll get to all of that here in a little
don't
while.
Worry, Sens made them all tired. Don't worry.
Okay. Hopefully that's the case, man. Over here.
What do you got?
Yeah, this comes from... and I saved this one specifically knowing that you were coming up and knowing what a Halloween guy you are. This is the Goblin's Trill.
Oh, yeah. I love that, Matty. Let's go.
So, yeah, 8% though. And so we're leading off the afternoon strong here.
Yeah.
But we're going to enjoy it, man. I'm looking forward to trying this one out. The Goblin's Trill, 8%. And it's a collaboration, which is sort of a combination, between Blood Brothers and Bellwoods down in the Big Smoke.
Two good ones as well.
100%, man. They all do good stuff, and I don't want to butcher what they're doing, but one of them, I believe it's Bellwoods, and I may have this backwards, so I apologize if I'm wrong, but has a beer called the Goblin Sauce, and I believe it's Blood Brothers, who has a series that is the This Trill or the That Trill, right? So this is the combination. They've thrown in their favorite hops. They've worked together. And come out with this, and I'm looking forward to trying it. Like I said, knowing you are a Halloween guy, the Goblin's Trill had to ride today.
Yeah, and you know what? I like that you saved that for me. And the can
for you in the sense of I'm going to drink it in front of you.
Yeah, well, and
for your visit, I guess.
Yeah, and don't worry, I brought you some Halloween beers.
I know
too,
you did,
because.
man. You're a pimp like that.
Yeah, so. But you have a nice can. How's the
I
pull?
do have a nice can. It's a little big. It's a little the first pull, juicy, man. This is nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off, at least on the first pull, like that strong 8% would. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing, right? Sometimes you need that reminder that, hey, pump the brakes here. Don't have too many of these. It's 8%. And yet, on this one, I think it's got that nice balance to it. How's the Good Monster treating you?
It definitely tastes like an 8% beer, but it's smooth and I like it. Like, it's very good.
Okay.
And again, the can is going to win me over every day. Anytime you can put a monkey or a Sasquatch on a can,
Sure.
I'm in.
Look, we'll get to all the sports stuff here in a second, and honestly, I want to find out where you're at in the annual Halloween movie marathon. But we just wrapped up Thanksgiving. I did let the good listener know that coming up, like, this was going to be a tough weekend to do a show. We normally would do something Sunday afternoon, and it would drop on a Monday morning, but it was a holiday Monday. So sometimes we go ahead anyway. Sometimes we wait and record on Monday afternoon and drop that on Tuesday. But when factoring in the number of our guests who were going to have their own Thanksgiving plans and things like that, it just I wasn't wanting to reach out and bug people. And even if I was up to it, the Jays were complicating things in a big way, right? Like, why record Sunday afternoon before game 1? Why record Monday afternoon before game 2 and have your show be instantly stale? So we've held off till Tuesday afternoon. We know, unfortunately, where things are at in this Blue Jays Mariners series. But that is why, if you somehow missed all of that, why you're not getting our first show of the week until Tuesday afternoon, good listener. But Bunda, how was your Thanksgiving, man? What'd you get up to?
It was awesome. You know what? Had a nice family dinner at my mom's farm. Got some work done. And usually Thanksgiving Sunday is a day of getting some stuff done around the farm with my uncle and my cousins and my sisters and whatnot. So do that. And then ended up trickling into the house to watch a little bit of football. The Buccaneers have moved to 5-1 on the season.
Wow.
Yes, big win over the San Francisco
Your boy
49ers.
Baker Mayfield with the play of the year so far.
Oh, he's an MLP favorite right now for sure. The Buccaneers are in a spot where they currently have their top 4, not 1 and 3 or whatever. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4 receivers, number 1 running back, 2 offensive linemen, and 3 DBs, and a defensive tackle. All injuries. They're just scattered. But Baker Mayfield has put the team on his damn back.
Yeah.
And ended up watching that game as well. Had a great meal. My mom put together some good stuff. Always love some turkey, some stuffing, some mashed potatoes. You get a little bit of carrots, a little bit of salad. You just pour the gravy all over it. Oh, man. I'm already ready for some leftovers. I got some in the fridge, still going. I had some
Turkey
yesterday.
sandwiches? Are you about that, or?
Yeah, I don't mind a turkey sandwich here and there, but right now I still have a good amount left. Like, it's kind of like when I get to the very last bit of my turkey, I'll do that, but I still have a good amount left, so I'm just going to go home and grab a plate and just, make a whole big thing of stuffing and turkey and everything like that, because that's my favorite part. But yeah, I like a good turkey sandwich, and stuffing's like the best part of it. Like the whole...
It's like my least favorite.
Oh my God.
I know.
What else is better than stuffing, man? Come on.
Where do you stand? Does your family do turnip on?
No, and I hate turnips.
Okay.
You can't tell me you like turnips more than anything else. There's mashed potatoes?
No. Hold on. So yeah,
Okay.
on Saturday, our buddy Creech, the pigeon, he's hosting the Sens pregame show, and the pigeon, and he was in here, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and had to give him a hard time because it's hard to pin the guy down, right?
What, does he like turnips?
No, but he did a thing on the pregame show for the Sens with CJ and Gord Wilson that was most underrated part of Thanksgiving dinner. And Gord Wilson came on and said, "Oh, if you do the turnip right," and it's not that it's your favorite part, but it's the most underappreciated part. It's the most underrated part. And my mom on Thanksgiving and on Christmas, she does up a turnip that's got like little brown sugar in it, like actually makes it taste more sweet, a little something to it. And it's like a mash now, right? It's pretty nice, man. But so you're not a turnip guy, though. You're not even giving it a chance. My sister. So I should say I didn't get home for Thanksgiving. Plans changed at the last minute, and I wasn't able to get there. So my sisters were pretty pumped because they're not about that turnip life either.
No.
But my sister came out in the morning, and my mom's making turnip anyway. And she's like, "Matt's not even here. What are you doing? Why are you stinking up the house making the turnip?" But my mom and dad, they're fine with it. Like, I don't know that they love it or it's their favorite part, but I think my sisters thought with Matt not down for at the cottage for the family Thanksgiving, they would have avoided the turnip. But it got made anyway, man.
Do your sisters live in Ottawa?
One does.
One does. Yeah. And did they bring you turnips?
They did not bring me anything.
What the heck is your sister good for?
Oh, man, that's a question that's been asked for a very long time. Yeah.
That's what the whole point should have been. Hey,
send me a plate back of everything, right? So look, for me, the turkey is the best part, but the turnip is the most underappreciated, right? To answer Creech's question, right?
Okay.
The most
underrated. I think the best part is definitely the stuffing. Turkey is right up there. Mashed potatoes.
Dark meat, white meat.
Don't care. I like both, but
I like both as well. I prefer dark meat.
Yeah, I prefer dark meat, but most underappreciated is the gravy because you just put it all on, and I swear it makes it all even better. So you know what? I don't need no turnips in my thing. Okay. I think my mom had some carrots, some Caesar salad.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. There was a good spread, but just Thanksgiving is definitely one of my favorite meal. Pumpkin pie love a good pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Caramel apple pie I had as well. Oh yeah, it was good.
Is mom in charge of all the pies, or does do people bring a little something?
Yeah, she went and got a couple. She didn't bake them, but she
Okay.
went out and I remember yesterday morning I was getting ready to the day of the REDBLACKS game. I was up and I was having breakfast. I made my coffee. Put a little bit of Bailey's. It's day off.
Sure.
I like. I have a dark chocolate Bailey's right now.
Oh yeah,
and it is really good. So I put a little bit of my coffee and I'm like, what am I going to have for breakfast? And that I opened up the fridge and that caramel apple pie was just staring me down. I crushed like a whole quarter piece of it and I was like, wow, this must be a Thanksgiving Monday. And then following that, I watched a little bit of the REDBLACKS game, but then I had a nice good amount of leftovers for Thanksgiving. But you did not go home. Did you do anything? Did you do a special?
I really didn't.
No? Did you have like a roast chicken or did you just have?
I did have somebody text me and suggest like the Swiss Chalet Thanksgiving whatever, and I checked it out. I didn't know, man. It's just a quarter chicken dinner with a piece of pie. I'm like,
yeah.
So that didn't light me up. But honestly, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like Thanksgiving is right there for me as probably my second favorite holiday of the year. Like I know a lot of people get into some of the summer stuff or Easter. Or
other than Halloween,
else.
I don't know what's better.
There you go. So it was a bit of a bummer that I wasn't able to make it, but luckily it was a busy enough sports weekend with the number of playoff baseball games going on, the NHL starting up, even the NFL, which, for me is a little bit down my list, but filled a Sunday, right? So, I didn't get up to too much, to be honest with you. It was a quiet weekend, and that's okay too. I did ask my mom to make up a plate and throw it in the freezer. I will get there. I will get down.
I like that. That's
So
you got to call up the sister though. And she, she probably would eat half of it.
Honestly,
no.
This is it. She doesn't care whether I get my piece of Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like she's not one of those people. But mom will take good care of me. So she set some aside, and I think I'm going to try and head down there. I believe Halloween. I believe this year is a Friday. And so I may try and go down there that week and see my niece and nephew do my niece is.
It is a Friday. I can't confirm
that age where this might be the last year, right? Like she's aging up, but my nephew's still big into it. A couple other kids down there I know who are family as well that will be excited and whatever. Plus, then I can skim off the top of their collections.
Do you have your costume ready? Do you know what you're gonna do?
I probably won't do. We'll see. Some years I got more into it than others. I have a Fred Flintstone costume that I look great in.
That's awesome.
I have a Wario costume.
That's even better. I like that. That's a pretty good one.
So I've got a couple of things to. It fits. Right?
Him and Waluigi.
And this is it. If my hair was a little longer, I can actually pull off both the Fred Flintstone and the Wario quite naturally, and just have the big mustache and everything else. So I might. We'll see. But I know there'll be a plate of Thanksgiving dinner waiting for me down there at that point. So I'll get to it, right? It'll be all right. But we are, just a couple of weeks away from Halloween. You are as big of a fan of Halloween as anybody I know. Where are we at in the movie marathon? If you know someone
bigger, please let me know.
I actually, no, I don't. Other than these, 7-year-olds in my world that are getting big into just the idea of getting candy. For you, it's not so much about the candy; it's about the movies.
Them then. I can't say kids today. They know what's going on. See, they know.
Where are you at? Where did you start this year? When did you start? Was it in September? Was it in August?
Yeah, you should just find a day where I'm feeling it. It's weird. I don't have a specific day or time. Mm-hmm. I just, there's a day where it just hits me and I'm like, you know what? I'm starting my horror movie season. It's ready to go. And I just start crushing and I'm up to 24 movies so far. I'm probably going to get one tonight. So by the time this airs, we're probably up to 25. We'll just round off and say we're up to 25. 17 days left. I got to start working because I need to get into the 40s. I think anything under than 40, I'm I'm letting myself down. But like I've crushed a good amount of them so far. Like I started off with the Friday the 13th, like the original. I watched like the first 4.
Yeah.
And then they kind of trail off into just goons, and it gets a little bit too far and just too goofy. Like I'm not watching Jason Goes to Space and stuff like that. Like I don't care about that kind of stuff. I
It's like
wanted
the old Ernest Scared Stupid or Ernest Goes to
you might as well be watching that at that point, right? And I've gone through a couple of the Strangers. I even went back through the nostalgia of the I Know What You Did Last Summer because 90s. Like I love Scream is one of my favorites. Like, but they did a remake of the I Know What You Did Last Summer earlier this year. So I went back and I watched I Know What You Did last summer. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which I forgot about how bad that was.
That was a terrible movie.
And then the even new one, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which also wasn't very good.
So it was a remake?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't a remake. It had a lot of the original characters in it too.
Okay.
Well, not a lot of them.
Like a
but
reboot
a couple.
more than a...
Kind of a reboot tying in to try and push it off. And it actually kind of ended with them, it looks like, making another one soon.
But I often think about, what's a Scary Movie?
Oh,
just the knockoff, right? Like, yes, as somebody who's not a horror movie fan, just a comedy movie that's making fun of the genre and stuff like that. I remember seeing those and thinking those were pretty funny.
Oh yeah, and they're I think doing one of those this year too,
because
it's been the year of the horror movie. But I know I've done a good couple of them. I went through the Screams 1 through 4, the Hills of Eyes 1 and 2. Couple other I did
you like Saw, any of those?
I don't mind Saw. I think the storylines are always interesting, and gore and blood isn't not there's not really a horror movie I can watch that it like bothers me, whether it be the blood or the scariness or the ghosts or the serial killers. Like none of it really scares me. It makes me excited, and I just love
I think that's
them.
probably why I still don't like them. When I was a kid, they scared the shit out of me. I was like, I don't want to watch any more of these, and I just stuck with. I had an argument the other day, it's a little unrelated, but I choked on a Skittle in grade 3, and now I don't like Skittles. Like I don't eat. Like I don't know if I'm still afraid that I might choke on another one.
Did you try at least sour Skittles?
No, this is exactly what that guy said. Replied, he was like, "Oh man, sour Skittles, you're missing out." And I'm like, "No, like it might kill me."
Lloyd'll kill you if he finds out. I think he's a sour Skittle like fiend. He loves that. As long as it's not candy corn. Let me guess. You're into candy corn?
Not really. No.
Okay, good. I was waiting for you to say that after your turn-up comment, but that or rockets.
Halloween.
I hate rockets.
You hate rockets? See, I got time for rockets. Like I don't get excited about rockets because it's like every third house, but
it's true.
But I'm fine with a couple per year or whatever, and that's just straight rocket fuel for any 6-year-old. Like they're going to be up all night. Those things are pure.
Go back to high school and eat chalk if I want that. But no, I'm not a fan of rockets. It's all about sour Skittles are good. Yeah. Starbursts are good. The Wonder Bars are good. There's Wonder
Bars. Okay.
Oh, they have the Twizzlers. Now they even have the Jolly Rancher packs. Like the
Yeah. See, I'm always more about the chocolate than the candy. Right.
I'm for it all.
But without getting political or whatever. This is the shrinkflation. Like the little Mars bars are like half the size they used to be. The little Snicker, all of them. Although the Halloween size Kit Kat seems to be about the same size that it always was, but everybody else is shrinking and cheaping out, man.
Yeah. You got to find those houses too. Do you remember as a kid when you were ever trick or treating? But the places that would give you like a full can of pop or like a full size chocolate bar.
Full size chocolate bar. That was like hitting gold.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, right? You're going down the neighborhood. The average person, rockets. Dang it. Okay, again. Small chocolate bars.
This guy just threw a full Mars bar in my bag.
They got full Pepsis and cream sodas, guys. And then it's like you circle back and try and figure out who's going to go next to get more, and then like it's like you said, you hit the jackpot if you could find one of those houses.
Well, so
I wonder if they even still do those anymore.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, like everything's
I'm sure some houses out there do that.
Yeah,
because there are some good people out there that want to treat people on Halloween. And listen, I'm not here to candy shade anybody.
Well, and it depends too. Like, how many kids do you expect are coming to your house? Like, we lived out in the country, and we'd get 30, 50 kids. There are places getting like 120, 150 kids. Like, now am I spending $200 on full-size Mars bars for all these kids? Like, there are different circumstances. When I was in college, we rented a house with a bunch of buddies, and a couple of us on Halloween nights, we've pissed off these neighbors for the first 2 months we've lived here with parties every Saturday, and nobody likes us. We should at least do the Halloween thing for the local kids, right? Like, everybody's putting up with us. A couple of us will stay home on Halloween night and hand out candy. So we were doing that, and this one girl who lived in the basement with our buddy, I'm going to leave the names all out of this. He was an awesome guy, and she's fine too. But she only lived with us, with a group of guys, because they were serious enough at that point. So she's sitting out front, handing out and she also has a rabbit in the basement that has just had like 36 baby rabbits.
Oh, this is an interesting house.
Yeah. Well, we were all worried about what else might be reproducing down there, but that didn't end up happening, so that's fine. But she decides she's going to hand out cans of pop, which is fine. But around the cans of pop, she has made art that says bunnies for adoption. And so every fucking kid that gets a pop is like, can we take a bunny? Like, and the parents are now just glaring at it. Like, we've gone from trying to endear ourselves and be nice to the neighborhood.
Good marketing, though.
Everybody, she was smart, but all these parents are looking at us like, seriously? You're going to make me tell my kid, no, we can't have a bunny tonight. So we were not any more popular after Halloween that year. Then we gave it a shot, man. But didn't work out.
Still sounds like a good time, though.
It was an all right time, yeah. Look, we should probably get into some actual sport. You want to look? We'll talk some football a little later. I want to talk some fights a little later. But the two headlining pieces of news, I think, at this point in October are the NHL start and the Major League Baseball playoffs. Man, where do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, you know what? Both are disappointing right now for us. So why don't we just start with hockey and get that out of the way?
Let's do it. Look, we'll talk some Sens. I want to talk some Leafs here in a second, but we did see over the weekend that Lane Hutson and the Montreal Canadiens inked a new deal, an extension, 8 years times $8.5 million. Comes on the heels of both Luke Hughes and Jackson Lacombe grabbing $9 million deals for a very long term. I'm curious, do you like this for Montreal? Do you like it for Lane Hutson? I was surprised they got it done at, I think it's 8.5. If not, it's 8.25. It's under $9 million. I said on the show a week or two ago, after seeing those two original deals, that Lane Hutson's position would have to be, don't even talk to me about anything under 9. And yet they get it done for under 9, man. Did it surprise you at all?
Yeah, 8.85 is what it was. A little bit. Again, like it's tough when these young guys can put up points like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, didn't do much first year, didn't get many games in, but then explodes.
Yeah, I think he only played like 3 games or something coming out of university.
Yeah, but exploding for like over 60 points as a defenseman is huge.
Yeah.
Right? And left shot, but whatever, man. When you can do that, the Habs, for them to be able to get this done, like you said, under $9 million, seems like a pretty good deal for them. And you know what? I can't say I've watched too much of him this year yet to see if he's worth it, but it's hard to argue he's not worth it. Like, he's going to have to fall off the face of the earth pretty good because, like I said, when you're putting up 60 assists in your kind of first full year in the NHL, you're kind of going to be special.
Yeah.
And if you're not, well, then something went terribly wrong. And it's either because you just got paid a lot of money and you don't know how to handle it and you're in Montreal. But the fact that he's in Montreal and he put up that money, hard to argue it. Like, you don't see a lot of defensemen that, can put up that many points in a season anymore, right? It's crazy.
Well, it is, and I'm glad you threw that in at the end, because to me, a lot of this is crazy. And it's not because I don't think he's going to be good. I just think it's only been 1 year. But it's only really been one really good year for Jackson Lacombe. It's really only been one really good year for Luke Hughes. Mm-hmm. And you make these gambles now sooner than you ever did before. Because if Lane Hutson goes out and puts up another year like he did last year, and the cap goes up like we expect it to, he's going to say, okay, now the number doesn't start with 8. Now the number doesn't start with 9. It starts with 10.
Yeah.
And so the gamble is, while the cap is exploding, even if you're not quite as good as you have been, like even if you drop 10%, and I don't expect that, right? Guys don't usually, there is often a bit of a sophomore slump, but then guys refine themselves. Guys with this kind of skill, this kind of talent and speed. But if you can lock him in and just be willing to take that gamble with the way the cap is going over the next however many years, this is going to be like second pair money at some point for a guy who's probably a first pair defenseman. So it's a risk. It could blow up in their face. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but all these teams are rolling the dice much earlier than they used to. And I don't know how deep it's worth diving into this, but Quebec is the highest taxed area in the NHL. So to get this guy not just to take under 9, but in that environment is wild. While all his peers, everyone around him, did get 9 or higher. Man, I was surprised. I think it's a good deal for Montreal. If all of these are gambles, if all of these are risks, this was one worth taking.
Yeah, and again, his size kind of scares you, right? 5'9", kind of smaller size.
And it's not like he's lightning fast either, and yet his skill with the puck, it's just so good. It's undeniable.
No, and like you said, I think the biggest point is we're starting to see a little bit more crazier contracts, especially this past summer. And no, I'm not talking about Connor McDavid. We're talking about Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah.
And getting $17 million. And I mean, I call it summer. It was only a few weeks ago, it feels like. But
there's a bunch of Spencer Knight hasn't proven much yet. He gets 3 years at 5.8. That's not huge money, but for a goalie who hasn't shown anything yet, it's a lot of money, man. We're seeing this, right? Teams are just rolling the dice.
And that's where you look at, like I said, Kaprizov is getting $17 million now. And Connor McDavid took a pay cut big time. He's now 12 and a half?
12 and a half.
Yeah, 12 and a half. And, for 2 years, sure, short term, but you've already had him for $12 million the last 7 years. So, he's technically around for that much. But when you start seeing that, like you said, Lane Hutson puts up, say he gets better, right? Say he puts up another 60 assists, except he moves up from 6 goals to, say, 15 goals.
Sure. And his defensive coverage improves, as it does for any young defenseman. It gets better, right?
And then the Habs get better, right? And then, they move on a bit better, right? And then it just works up. You look at, 2 year or next year at this time, and like I said, maybe he gets up to 15 goals.
Sure.
You add that and 63 assists. And so we're pushing a guy here that we're talking about 70 plus points, right? As a defenseman. You're going to be paying 10, 11, 12 million.
Right.
Like these wingers and forwards are pushing the market up, and it's just going to make defensemen go up. And like you said, it's nice to see the other two, where they're at, and him just a little bit cheaper in a spot.
I was surprised by that he was willing to take less
in Montreal.
And
like you said, so that's the big thing. But again, a contract that's absolutely going to kind of push it a little bit further down the road.
Yeah.
But again, in 3 years from now, and again, I say if, but the NHL salary cap has to go up. It can't stay stagnant.
And they're predicting huge leaps.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to go up a good chunk, and he's going to be really underpaid, and it's going to be a steal, and I think in a couple of years, especially Hughes too. I think he's really good, and I think his contract will be fine in a couple of years as well. Yeah. But I guess I just was curious to see if they were going to get all the brothers together again or not. That was the big rumor,
on the table, right? Yeah.
Still on
Quinn,
the table.
not extended long term in Vancouver, nor can he be yet. So I don't want to set off any alarm bells, but that will be a fascinating one to watch. I'm impressed by the lid that Montreal has seemingly been able to place on their contracts. Dobson is a little higher at 9.5, but everybody else, whether it be Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, now Hutson, have been held under that $9 million ceiling. When I look at Montreal, I certainly acknowledge they're going to get better, but I don't know if there's enough there long term that tells me that's a cup team. I don't know if Caulfield and Slavkovsky and Suzuki is a cup-winning number one line. Like, I don't know if Sam Montembeault is a cup-winning goalie. Obviously, the defense is getting better, and that's where a lot of their top prospects are, and they did use a bit of that capital in trading Logan Mailloux to St. Louis to get Zach Bolduc. We'll see how that pans out. I think it'll go reasonably well, but I like what Montreal is doing with their cap and keeping all these numbers a little lower, but I'm just not sure yet what they're building there and whether it's going to be good enough. Do you have a thought long term on Montreal?
Yeah, I think they're a team where, again, Montembeault is a guy.
The blue line will be great. I don't know if the forward depth is there, I guess is my.
Yeah, and you're starting to see guys like when Kirby Dach is playing as your third line center, right? Like that's
second line some nights.
Yeah, second night, and Oliver Kapanen, Alex Newhook.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's Patrick Laine's on their fourth line, and even like
We'll see Demidov.
Josh Anderson, the big contract, right? Think about what they paid him.
I cannot believe.
You want to talk about Lane Hutson's deal? Look at Josh Anderson, what they paid him a few years ago. And now he's on your fourth line doing nothing.
The other night, I missed the Leafs versus Habs opener. And I think that's the first time in probably 15, 20 years that I haven't watched a single second.
You must have had a damn good excuse.
Jays were on.
Oh.
And so I didn't watch a single second of the Leafs season opener. And I can't even remember the last time that would have been the case, that I haven't found at least a couple minutes. Now, I did watch the extended highlights the next morning, and I'm like, Josh Anderson? I fucking forgot about that guy. Because you're right, that is a huge contract for what is now a third-line winger. Like, that was a disastrous contract the minute they signed it, and it's still going. Like, I guess I just sort of, like, I obviously remember that he was a Hab, but at some point, I guess my mind was just like, that contract's got to be up. Like, he's got to be done. And he's just never done. He's always there.
Yeah. And again, so I'm with you when I look at the Habs. I look at a lot of guys that are very mad, like even Gallagher. Like, he is what he is, and I still think he's a heart and soul player for that team.
But aging out for sure. And, you know, I look at them as they definitely need some depth, but definitely a team that's starting to move and trend in somewhat of the right direction.
Yep. And I'm with you. My biggest thing when I look at them is like the goalie aspect is like Montembeault has been there. He's been part of Canada's teams, and his name's always brought up. And I'm thinking, like, is this guy actually any good?
Right.
And then you're always like, okay. And then you watch and it's like, he'll be an okay guy. And it's like, he's fine. He's fine is very much what he is.
Yeah.
And, maybe he's better than I give him credit for, but I look at him as a very, very meh guy, and he's just hanging out there. So, and that's where I kind of look at the Habs, is they're just a team that's very meh.
This is it. I do expect them to keep getting better. I do expect they'll probably be a regular, like, every year playoff team. I don't see enough there, barring some major moves, that says they're going to be a cup contender. I just don't think that's quite where they're going to be at. But we'll see. Another team trying to take that next step forward, you know, from, hey, we finally made the playoffs, to becoming regular playoff contenders, and hopefully another one after that, is the Sens. It's been an interesting start for them. They kick off the year with a big win over Tampa Bay. But since then, and including then, Shane Pinto really at the moment looks like the only guy really going. They did drop another one on Monday to Nashville. That sucks. Nashville is not a good team. That's one you don't want to. Now, there was a couple of games on Monday afternoon, Canadian Thanksgiving, that kind of looked like, hey, we're just getting the season going. We're barely into our routine, and now we're trying to make an afternoon thing happen. The Sens just looked low energy, as did the Leafs. We'll get to that, I guess. But what have you made of the Sens here through the first 3 games? Tough start to the year, having to open up in Tampa and Florida. But that Nashville game at home on a Monday should be a gimme. It didn't turn out to be. A lot of people talking about Pinto and how good he's been. Allmark being not quite as good, through the first few games. What have you seen out of the Sens, man?
Watching a bit yesterday, UC Saros kind of stole that game from Ottawa. Like, Ottawa was the better team, and we're kind of all over him, but they just, played better. And like you said, Linus Allmark maybe not off to the best start that fans would like him to be. But again, you're kind of in a tough spot when you have a starting goaltender that's playing some big top teams like Florida, like Tampa, and you go in against a Nashville team, and it's like, okay, it was a very tight game, but Saros kind of stole that game. Again, it's very early. It's tough to kind of get a good judge. And
Sens took a pile of penalties in that game too.
Yeah.
Undisciplined.
And Pinto, like you said, has been good. And I think the big thing to watch is what's up with Brady Tkachuk now. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is...
Did not play in the last 10 minutes of the third period. Was on the bench, but did not come out for a shift. Yeah. So obviously something going on there.
And it's got to be serious because Brady's the guy I'm going to be out there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, unfortunate. It looks like it was an injury with his wrist or arm or something like that. Very tough. Because that's the guy that everybody says he drags you into the fight.
Yep.
He's your leader, but he has that unicorn style play where he will lead the league in hits. He'll put up 30 goals, and you know what? He'll put up maybe 60, 70 points, and he'll be a standout kind of player. And he's rough, he's big, he's strong, and it's for Ottawa. If he's out long term, that's definitely a big blow early on in the year because like Claude Giroux has kind of showed he's a guy that can be a role player.
Yeah.
but I don't think he's the guy that's going to lead your team right now.
Well, at this point, he's a middle six guy, right?
I feel like Tim Stützle is going to have to definitely put the team on his back. Another guy I'd say who's kind of had their better game has been or a good start to the year, Ridley Gregg. He's a fiery, not the biggest, but he's a guy that finishes his checks. He's a I don't want to call him a rat, but a pest.
Yes.
Yeah, a pest is a good way to put it. And I think that he's shown that he's shown flashes that he's taking another step in his development, which is good. I'm still very much a believer that the Sens are going to be a playoff team this year again.
Yep.
And I think that they're in a good spot. I love Jake Sanderson. I do think he's probably one of the more underrated defensemen in the league, just because
he's the turn-up of the NHL.
Yeah, is he? I don't know. I don't know.
In some people's eyes,
he might like that because he probably eats them all. He's probably really healthy. But I look at him as a guy that I don't think gets talked about enough as being one of the better defensemen. But he is so good, and he might not have had the greatest start to the year, but I still see flashes throughout the game where I think that this guy can absolutely take over games and be so good. And he's big. He's so good with the puck. He's such a good skater. He can be physical. I think he is absolutely like just kind of the future player, him and Brady and Tim Stützle. But now with these injuries, I guess the injury to Drake Batherson's been out, but with now Tkachuk,
Brady,
we're gonna wait and see what that is. But when you look at that, it's like, okay, Tim Stützle, like we need you to kind of step up a bit here.
Well, and there's going to be a few guys, right? Like Zetterlund is a guy that I really liked that trade last year for Ottawa, and yet it was a bit of a struggle for him down the stretch to find a place. And so this year, he's been given some chances on that top line. And look, you and I are talking here very early on Tuesday afternoon. We don't have an update yet on Brady. Maybe by the time people hear this, they will. If Brady's going to be out short term, long term, all of a sudden, Zetterlund, he's going to have to find it. Yeah. He's going to have to provide some offense. Dylan Cousins, who's...
Same thing.
Yeah, he's off to an okay start. He looks energized. He's had a full camp now with the new coach, with the new team, with the new system. He's a guy who's going to have to find it. Pinto is going to have to continue to produce, not necessarily at the 2-goal per game pace that he's doing right now, but you're going to have to get that depth scoring, because when you're missing a guy like Brady, it's not just the goals like you're talking about. It's that drag you into a fight. It is those hits. It is those moments that say, hey, I don't give a shit that it's 1:30 on a Monday afternoon. We're playing a game right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
And some of these guys are going to have to grab a hold of that a little bit. And I do think Claude Giroux, who you mentioned, for me, I don't really think you want to keep playing that guy on your top line anymore, but he can be that leader now who reminds you this game matters. These games are worth every bit what the ones in March are coming down the stretch. Let's go. And the Sens are going to have to show that a bit if Brady's going to be out for, we don't know, a week, a month, whatever it might be here. But that's a huge loss, man.
And again, curious to see what the details are on that and how serious it is, because it can determine a lot, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the Sens in a spot where coming off a playoff run against the Leafs, Battle of Ontario, you made the playoffs for the first time in a good couple of years. You have that excitement in the fan base. You kind of can't afford to lose a guy like Brady for a long term.
When you can't afford to lose the momentum, right? People are excited to start this year.
You don't want this one to go down by the wayside.
No. And you don't want to have the November conversation again, these sorts of things.
No.
You need to get going here a little bit. So.
Yeah.
The Leafs will see Nashville here later tonight after dropping a disappointing one to Detroit. Well, disappointing two to Detroit on Saturday evening and Monday night, coming off the win against Montreal. As I said, I didn't catch a single minute of Montreal versus Toronto on Wednesday night. I watched the extended highlights the next day. Saturday, there was no Blue Jays game, so I was able to see all of that. It wasn't inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And Monday, I don't know what to make of Monday. They played pretty well. 40 shots on goal, but didn't win. And sometimes that happens. But you are sitting here now 1-2. I would say the Montreal win, you didn't play all that well and somehow found a way to win anyway. The loss to Detroit on Saturday, you didn't play well and lost, blew a 2-goal lead, and that's what happens. I don't know about Monday's game. I thought maybe you deserved a bit better. It was a slow start, and it was not an overly inspiring first period, but they carried the play through the last 2 periods. It seemed like maybe they were finding it a bit, but you are already starting to see some rumblings, some chatter about maybe the Leafs aren't going to be all that good this year. And it's too early to hit the panic button. But based on what you've seen thus far, do they look not ready? Do they look uninspired? Do they just look not as good as we thought they might be? What have you seen out of them so far?
What I've seen out of them is a lack of scoring.
Yeah.
I think it's and I don't want to be super hard and critical on a team, but I look at a lot of the moves they made this offseason, and I look at it and say, underwhelming, underwhelming, meh. Like, again, trading away, or not trading away, but I guess somewhat trading away Mitch Marner, which, you know, I don't know. But Nicholas Roy, again, you're never going to hold him up to say that was a 1-for-1 deal or anything like that.
Although he is one of the only forwards going thus far, but he's not Mitch by any means.
No, and honestly, I would say he's very okay. Like, he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's been great. But, I look at Dakota Joshua. Haven't seen much out of him.
No.
I look at Michelli. Okay.
My boy Willie. Get going, man.
Yeah. And even Austin, right? Austin hasn't been very good. I know, I think, what do you have, 7, 9, 12, 14 shots yesterday? Like, he was all over Detroit. But
for me, he does at least look like that shot is back a little bit. He's getting it away a bit quicker, which is going to be a big thing. Like, I don't think I need Austin Matthews to get back to 69 goals. I do need him to get back to probably 50. After 35.
You want 45 plus from him, right? You're paying him that. He's your captain.
And it does
now.
look like that shot is back a bit where it wasn't there last year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But thus far, like, they just look like
Tavares hasn't looked very good. Like, I look at a lot of the team, like you said, Willie, like,
Morgan Riley's been the only guy who's been moving every night. Like, he looks ready to go.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of...
And their back end looks very much what you'd think it is. It's very much going to be the same. It's the same as last year's, right? There's virtually no changes to your top set. Yeah. Well, I guess your sixth defenseman. So, that's kind of...
It's having Carlo for the full year to play with Riley, I guess. But it's not a good puck-moving defense. It's a big stay-at-home defense.
Yeah, and you need like that to pick up, right? The chemistry, right? You kind of have the carryover. You need that to be your strength to lead off the season, which it's been okay. And Stolarz, at times looks really good.
Yes.
But then also looks, what the heck? And the injuries to Wall, like, it kind of seems like it's just he is what he is. He's a really big and good goaltender when he's between the pipes, but he can, struggle to get between the pipes. And that's the biggest problem with them. And when I look at the roster, though, like I said, the additions of guys like a Dakota Joshua, who they drafted and had success elsewhere, I have not seen anything from him in the preseason. Start the season, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's a guy they need to get going. And yet, I got to be honest, man, for me, I don't want to pin this on the bottom six, right? Like I mentioned, Willie's got to go. Tavares has got to go. I need a little more out of Matthew Nyes. The forwards that are being paid to carry this team higher in the lineup are the ones who are going to have to figure it out. And so that's where I think the questions are starting to come online and talking to other Leaf fans. Like, oof, like,
it's time to make a big trade, shake something up on offense.
Maybe, but maybe this team's just not that good.
And I don't want to throw the full conspiracy theory out there, but I do think that deep down they thought there was a very, very outside chance that McDavid was leaving Edmonton, and they could throw a buttload of money at them, and try and bring him back to Toronto, and bring him, well, not back, but I guess as a kid, grew up
bring him home.
Yeah, bring Connor home, and I think that now they're in a spot where, look, you can't lose a guy like Mitch, and look, I'm a guy that was on board. Trade Mitch Marner.
Yep.
Get him out of there. I would have loved the Rantanen deal. I think that it's unfortunate, but Mitch had a no trade clause. He had he had that ability. But
I was ready for Mitch to go as well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're not going to notice that he's gone, right? Yeah,
and
exactly.
I hate this replaced by committee thing that you'll see some analytic people put out there, and I'm just like, dude, I don't give a shit if you could have three guys that are as good as one. That means you have to have three guys in your lineup at all times to maybe...
Three guys who are all going to average 33 points instead of one who averages 90.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, right? And I don't want to say that they're just missing that little bit of playmaking ability because, look, Easton Cowan seems like a guy that I'm sure one day...
pretty good.
Yeah, he's been good, but I don't think he's there yet as a guy that
he's
you
not
could...
going to be missed.
No, exactly.
Ever.
So, he's a guy that looks like, though, he could be a solid player and a solid role player on that in the top six.
Yeah.
I think that he's shown flashes, and he's going to get there eventually. But when you look at guys like
it was interesting after that Monday game that Matthews said, I like this, I like that. I look forward to playing with him again.
Mm-hmm.
I think when the captain talks, he's telling you hey,
keep Easton on my
that's
line.
my guy for
Yeah.
now, right? And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I would have preferred he probably just said it to the coach instead of to the media, and maybe it doesn't matter. But like the Michelli thing didn't really work. The Domi thing, we'll see. I don't think it. We've seen it work before. I don't know, but I think he pretty much just announced for a little while here, I'd like to see if the Cowan thing is going to work. I think that's what the captain's telling you.
And I think that's fair. And I think, you know what, give it to him if that's what he needs. But again, Austin's going to start scoring too. Like, that's the big thing. He can't have one empty net goal in the very first game and then, not score.
Well, last thing on them, I don't know whether you'd want to call it a promotion or not based on how he's played. Is there a reason to at least consider going back to what they did in the very early days of this group and putting Willie with Matthews and having this one really loaded top line? You would have Willie with the killer, like he's a great passer, great setup guy, and a great shooter, so he's kind of your dual threat. Matthews, when he's on his game, obviously one of the most unique offensive goal scorers, and then Nyes, digging it out, going into the corners, getting in front of the net. Or does it make you too thin down the lineup if all your eggs are now in one basket?
Mainly because Tavares hasn't had a great start to the year, I'd say. And Michelli, like your second line, you kind of leave in a really tough spot. Like I don't
even know what it is at that point.
Well,
I guess it is Michelli, Tavares, and Domi or McMahon.
You're going to have to drop Cowan down, right? Like that's the thing. So does Cowan go to your second line? Like that's the thing. I don't know what you do, and that's the thing. The Leafs have a huge hole, and they have a huge playmaking. Problem.
Yes.
Like it's a problem. And look, they're probably going to take a little bit to find their groove. Like every team is going to, again, we're still really early into the season, but it is okay to just be super hard on some of these guys because, again, like I said,
they just don't look ready.
Well, and like I said, when you look at the lines and their moves in the offseason, it's like, okay, like you're all about these big-bodied guys. Yes. We've seen that from last year, right? When they went out and got...
Team's getting older and slower, man.
Well, they went out and they got a guy like Brandon Carlo. Okay, now you're going to go out and get a guy like Dakota Joshua.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick Waugh.
Nick Waugh. And then, the Nick Waugh thing was just hey, can you take him to give us some money?
No, I don't agree with that.
I don't really think he's much
to
more
me,
than...
He's a decent third or fourth line center.
Sure.
You were looking to improve on David Kampf. I think this guy could score 13 or 16
I'm also
goals.
not a big fan of Calle Yarncroke, to be honest. I
think
he's a guy that's been lingering around.
He's scored in every game so far.
Yeah, but
Calle Yarner.
Get rid of him while he's hot then. Like
Mitch Yarner.
Yeah, I look at it as a situation where that fourth line I don't like.
The only reason I bring it up is that, and you will get Lawton back and Lorentz back, who've both been hurt. But I would say I liked getting Waugh back for Marner better than getting nothing for Marner.
Sure.
Right? Like Waugh is a usable bottom six center who will help you. Is it a fair trade for Mitch Marner? No, but that was never on the table. It was never going to be. No. You got something.
It could have been friggin' Mitch.
Yeah. Fucking Mitch.
Yeah.
Look, let's push the Blue Jays talk to the back to the start of the second half here and hit the NFL here or maybe the CFL, wherever you want to take it. But I will say this. There was a Red Blacks game over the course of the Thanksgiving long weekend, and I'm not even trying to be an asshole when I say this. I had no idea, man. I am so checked out at this point on the Red Blacks, and I stuck with them through the summer. I wanted it to turn around. I like a lot of the people who work down there and who are running things. I like a lot of the guys on the roster, and it's another disastrous season. I fully expect major changes in the offseason. And it's hard to be this way, man, when you are a sports fan in the nation's capital, to not even know that the Red Blacks were playing on Thanksgiving Monday. And I'll be honest, I didn't know. Now, I got the Jays on my mind. I got the NHL start of the season on my mind. But to not even know, like even if I'd have known and went, well, that's going to be third or fourth on my list of things to watch. What was what was your impression of fan engagement here for the end of the Red Black season? You're around the team a lot, man.
Yeah, it's been tough sledding, right? And again, it's hard to not be hard when, it's been so bad the last, good 8-9 years.
Yeah.
Go back to last year and getting excited and having a playoff team, but then, dropping a good chunk of games at the end of the season and then kind of not showing up against Toronto in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Very much deflating. And then you're trying to get hyped up. They bring in some big names, Lewis, and, you're excited, and it just kind of injury after injury after injury, and not making excuses. I'm just going on how the season
happened.
Loss after close loss after another close loss after shooting his foot after shooting the other foot.
Self-inflicted losses.
You go back this whole season, and there's been a storybook's worth of injuries. Shooting yourself in your foot, penalties, mistakes, blown coverages, special teams hasn't been good, offense hasn't been good, defense at times has looked good, but also has struggled a good bit. It's just been it's been unfortunate, and you want to go back to yesterday's game against Montreal, and it was just unfortunate. It was tough, and the only person that seemed to show up was Will Stanback. And when you have guys like a Gino Lewis or Justin Hardy, two guys that are constant in 1,000-yard receivers, well. Justin Hardy, 0 catches. Gino Lewis, 1 catch, 10 yards. Not good. You need to win these games. Show fans.
Was it on them or was it on the quarterback?
There's a lot. Dustin Crum, I think he's shown that you know what? I've been hard on him this year, but he has shown progression. I think he is a solid backup quarterback in the CFL. I think he is probably one of the best number 2 quarterbacks in the CFL.
Yep.
Do I think he's a starting quarterback? I don't. I've yet to see him be able to sit in the pocket and throw for 300-400 yards in a game where it's a league that is kind of, you need to be able to pass the ball. And the fact that they're just not able to do that with him at quarterback just goes to show, I just don't know if he will get there. Maybe he will. Maybe in 2 years from now. Again, everybody, kind of develops at their own pace. And nothing against Dustin Crum, but this is a team where when Drew Brown's in there, he's shown he can be a gunslinger and throw for 400 yards. The only problem is this year he's been banged up. He's been injured. He's thrown a lot more picks. He hasn't been able to take care of the ball, which is something that is kind of uncharacteristic of him. So it's just kind of been a big kind of, and special teams has to be one of the bigger disappointments because, Richie Leone is the leading one of the leading punters in the CFL.
Yeah.
He's having one of his down years. Lewis Ward having a down year. Block kicks are happening. Missed kicks are happening. It's blown coverages on returns. It's been bad, and it's all around offensively. It's just been unfortunate for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and kind of getting your butt whooped in Montreal on Thanksgiving Monday. I get it why fans are kind of checked out. It's been a lot of this over the last few years, and I think, like you said, I'm assuming big changes are coming. Bob Dice, I think we've talked about him before. He's always been such a great guy. He's a good dude, and I think he is a great special team
Players
coordinator.
Clearly love him, want to play for him. But it's not working, man.
It's just not working, and it's a very tough pill to swallow for fans, right? And it's an even tougher one for the players to swallow, because I know a lot of them do love Bob Dice and would play and go through a wall for him, but at the same time the results aren't there. So it's been a very tough season, and it's hard to be eliminated from the playoffs when there's so many games left, which 3 games, and realistically it was probably 4. But it's
fans have known.
You just figure it out, and it's unfortunate. And again, like I said, there was so much hype and optimism and excitement, and I thought they were a team that has the players that can take you to a Grey Cup. I thought they were, bringing back some serious leadership. They added some good leadership, and like I said, and things just haven't worked out, and it's just been frustrating, and it's been unfortunate. And like you said, it's a team where, we should
off
be
my radar at this point.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, like you said, you go back to the summer, and that's kind of, I know the Blue Jays in baseball is, the boys of summer kind of thing. But, when the REDBLACKS are going, it adds a little bit more excitement to, all the sports in Ottawa. And it's, you've been to a couple games, TD Place, REDBLACKS games, awesome spot to be on a Friday, Saturday night, great spot, go out for beers, have some fun with friends. You don't have to be super into the game.
Hit
You're
up Craft before, maybe again after.
Yeah, it's been a good spot. And, I love after games, usually me and pal AJ, Jackie Beck, we'll go out for a couple, and we've been debriefing a lot of these last games, and it's just like every game has been, I can't believe this is how things are going. I can't believe
soul crushing.
It has been soul crushing for everybody, whether it's OSEG, it's media members that are covering the team, the fans. Coaches, the fans, players. It's just been down, and Ottawa football needs to kind of get that juice back.
Before we take a break here, the NFL, man, there's been some interesting stories on Monday night. We did see the Bills drop one here. I'm not one of these guys, but there were a lot of people who had a rough Thanksgiving Monday. Leaf loss, Jays loss, Bills loss. That was not a great day. I don't know what to make of the Ravens thus far. The Patriots look a little better than I would have thought thus far. Are the Broncos for real? I'm sort of curious, man, to take us wherever you want, but like storylines that are jumping out to you here in the NFL early on.
Oof, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
We'll start with the AFC just because you brought it up. But yeah, the Patriots, Drake May, and here comes Coach Vrabel back in New England, and he seems to have a team that's doing real good, especially when they're now leading the AFC East over the Bills. Like you said,
Who
Bills
saw that coming?
Yeah, losing to the Falcons on Monday Night Football, it's a very tough spot to be for the Bills, coming off a loss as well. It's been a very weird year in the NFL, that's for sure. But again, you look at the Jets, they're the Jets. The Dolphins, well, they're injured. We'll move on to the next division. Steelers, look at Aaron Rodgers, Mr. You know what? I've got this team going at 4-1.
Yeah.
And a team where you look at the Bengals, tough. You want to look at that division in the AFC North. The Bengals, unfortunately, Joe Burrow goes down once again, another injury. Yeah. They're not the same. They're not that good. They're a 2-4 team. The Ravens, well, I don't think they're good either. And they're 1-5. Lamar Jackson's been injured. Their defense has been leaky. They're a team that I feel like is a year away from the wheels falling off completely. Derrick Henry can only give you so many King Henry seasons. I think he's a guy that, running backs are hard to kind of have success later in their careers. But the fact that they weren't able to take advantage of that is very tough and, whatever. But the Colts, 5-1, leading the AFC. That's something I did not see. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, going to, Indianapolis and turning that team around. Jonathan Taylor has absolutely helped about, and he's been such a good workhorse running back. But, man, for that Colts team to be 5-1, did not see that coming at all. In a division where I thought, you know what, there's two teams that are probably going to win this division. It was the Jags or the Texans. Well, the Texans, once again, not looking as good. I love C.J. Stroud. I thought when his rookie year, this is a guy that's 2 or 3 years away from being a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He had such good pocket presence. Well, what do? They can't protect him. Just like the Bengals and Joe Burrow, they've ruined his career because you've never been able to protect him. The Bengals also just a cheap organization that just, the ownership, it's just terrible how they run things. But when you look at the AFC North and how the Colts are doing so good, well, the Jags are right there too, 4-2, but the Texans underwhelming again is just such a frustrating spot because
are you writing them off? Like, is this going to be
in
one
that
of
division?
those
You have
years?
to,
Or they're done already.
You're going to need. Well, I wouldn't say done already, but when you look at the Colts being 5-1 and the Jags 4-2, one of those teams are going to win the division, and the other one is going to get a wild card spot. Like again, you go to a couple different. You talked about the Broncos. Are they for real? Well, are the Chargers for real? They're both 4-2 in the AFC West, right? That's a very tough team. Also in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah, who have seemed to be back, unfortunately, again. Taylor Swift drops a new album. Here comes the damn Chiefs all of a sudden. They're, 1-2 in a row, and they've just dummied the Detroit Lions the other night. They looked incredible. Like, they didn't, Detroit
after
looked lost.
Like a stumble start for them.
Yeah, they were 1-3. They played the Ravens, and they said, here we go. We're the team that's going to take a step forward. So the AFC has been a very big crapshoot. And if you had asked me who I thought would be leading it, I would never in probably 20,000 tries said, you know what, I think Danny Dimes is going to lead the Colts to be the best team in the AFC West through the first in the AFC through the first 6 weeks of the season. So I just look at a lot of the things, but hard to argue that Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers having that success after he didn't have a great success in New Jersey,
especially the Jets still out here jetsing. Right?
Well, I'm going to say in New Jersey too, because they're MetLife is in Jersey, but when you're the Jets and you're a team that's been so bad, and you bring in a guy like Rodgers, and there's hype, and then he has the injuries and whatever. And he's an easy guy to cheer against in the last few years, right? Because he just comes off as surly and annoying and kind of too much. Well, it's kind of interesting, and there's a lot in the AFC that's been kind of all over the map. But it's good to see, some new teams like you said, the Broncos taking a step. Yeah. Their defense is awesome. Like, they have a real good defense. Bo Nix, kind of a bit of a sophomore slump, I'd say. But you know what? It's still a team where I believe. That guy. Yeah, and I like Bo Nix, but I hate Sean Payton because when he was with the Saints, and I just really don't like it. But and we'll move to the NFC and just that stuff. But the Eagles are a team where they're 4-2, leading their NFC East, and they've looked pretty bad. Like, they haven't looked that good. There's turmoil always. It's just such a weird thing to say about a team who just won the Super Bowl, but a slow start once again. They seem to be a team that starts slow, and things can slow down very quickly for them, but they can also pick up very quick. So I'm not really worried about them yet. But the Washington Commanders and even the Giants, they've since they took out Russell Wilson, they've looked like a better team, and for them to beat the Eagles on Thursday Night Football the other night, that was a big day. That was a big game for
was
them.
wild.
Jackson Dark, Cam Scatterbo, like these guys are looking good. I think that's a team that to watch. Washington losing last night to the Bears, kind of called that, but King Daniels, Washington, they're in a very weird spot too. I think they're good. I think they're just a spot or a player away from being really good. Sure. The Packers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to believe when you're a team that's 3-1-1. They tied the Cowboys. They lost to the Browns. They're right there. The Lions all over the map at 4-2. Vikings aren't there. Bears 3-2. I think that the Bears are a team to not sleep on. I think that took them a few. Yeah, I think that took them a few weeks. Ben Johnson, the former offensive.
Everybody's known they were coming, but when was it going to happen?
I think it's this year.
It's happening, eh?
I think it's starting to happen this year. We're seeing Ben Johnson kind of implement his offense with that Bears team, get them fired up. He's a coach that just seems to be, when you watch these post-game press conference, well, not press conference, but I love social media now and these teams and coordinators that put these cameras in the locker rooms, but you get to hear the coach speeches and the team just loving Ben Johnson and with the way he handles things, and they have a good defense. Their offense is there. Caleb Williams is just slowly getting that. Like, look, there's so much that could be added to it. Washington's not the best team, but for them to be 3-2, I think they're only going to get better throughout the season, and as they start to get more comfortable with Ben Johnson in that offense. So, look, that's the NFC North is definitely just a kind of a crapshoot of 3-2, 4-2, and a 3-1-1 Packers
Nobody's
team.
running away with it.
No, nobody's running away with it. It's very much wide open. The Bucks again being 5-1, they're leading the NFC. Wouldn't have told you that a couple weeks ago. Love the Bucks, die hard. I'll always love my Buccaneers. But listen, they are missing. There are so many players, and Baker Mayfield is literally, hard to put anybody else as an MVP candidate right now over him for what he's done. He's been awesome. He's been lighting the team like a fire underneath the team, and they're just getting them going. I love seeing that. I love how he plays with a chip on his shoulder. There's been a couple games in a row now where guys will kind of get a good lick on him. He'll get up and he gets in their face and he's trash talking back. He's not afraid to run for the ball. 3rd and 14 runs the fall. Oh man, he is just such a guy that you get so excited for them to be.
It took him a little longer to get there than I think people thought, but he's one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys that you have to look at and go, top guy, elite guy.
Yeah, and I think he's putting himself in that conversation. If he can win an MVP this year and continue the success, like, again, they need to get healthy. Like, it's nice to win those games like they did against the 49ers.
It's not sustainable.
Well, and you look at the 49ers, and sure, they've got more than enough injuries on their own.
Yeah.
It's tough to go against us, but you know what? You got to win those games, and that's what's the big thing is they're 5-1, and they're missing half their team.
Yeah.
And 49ers are a team that usually they lose to. So it was good to see them get that kind of win, but the Bucs leading the NFC, I did not see that as well happening, especially with the amount of injuries. And you look at the NFC West, the Seahawks, Sam Darnold, like people said last year with Minnesota, didn't look like he was a guy that had much left in tank. He showed up, kind of followed pretty far down the list of quarterbacks at the end of the year and in the playoffs. You know what? He went out to Seattle, and I think he's starting to show that he is, I can be a quarterback in the NFL. Sure. I absolutely can. Don't sleep on me. Their defense, looks good. The Rams are 4-2. The Seahawks are 4-2. And the 49ers, who are very injured, are also 4-2. So, the Cardinals, I'm not feeling that. But I like, what I love?
Tough division for sure.
It is. And being through 6 weeks of the season, I think you kind of get to that point where you start seeing the teams who are good and find ways to win games. Those are teams that usually, are starting to get it. This is right now when you start figuring out who the real guys are and who aren't. And I think the next, that's where once you get through week 10, and we
got 4 or so weeks here to go. Who's for real?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that's where you look at teams getting healthier. Guys get back up the PUP list. Injuries are all over the map throughout the league right now. Like I said, the Ravens have a very weak schedule, and Lamar Jackson's been out. They're 1-5 right now, and they're a team that they have winnable games to get back to 5-5, but they got to get healthy, right? There's a lot of teams that need to get healthy, and there's even I bring up the Bucs being 5-1. The Falcons, they looked real good.
Yep.
They did, and Bijan Robinson looks good. The Panthers, they had a big game against the Cowboys. Their defense has been terrible, the Cowboys, but for the Panthers and Bryce Young, that's a team that, hey, you know what? They can slowly get better. So there's a lot of teams in the NFL right now. It feels like a crapshoot. There's a lot of teams that could win both the AFC and the NFC. My only problem is, why do the Chiefs have to be back? And why do they have to start winning once Taylor Swift released her new album? That's what I hate the most, man.
That's it, man. That's the life of a showgirl.
Yeah, did I sum a lot of it up there in like 5 minutes?
I think you
a little bit more than 5 minutes.
Took us
probably
through the whole league, man.
Yeah.
Beauty.
I love it. I love the NFL. I love this stuff. And I think, you know what, this is going to be a very interesting year. I just hope that, we get some turnover at the top. I like that.
We'll take a break here. We'll get some turnover at the beers. And
hell yeah.
New pint, come back. We'll talk some Major League Baseball, maybe talk a little UFC. Lots to come here. Stick around. All right, we jump back in here, and look, Bunda's got shit to do. He's got work to do. He's in the middle of his day. So he's going to coast with what he's got over there. How is the Good Monster?
The Good Monster is tasty. It's a lot of flavor. It's juicy.
Yeah.
You can taste that it's a little bit stronger than 8% beer, but it's going to definitely it's a definitely good afternoon beer, but you're having one of those. If I had 2 of these, I'd definitely be needing to take the rest of the day off.
Little nap, yeah. So I'm going to have one here that you brought. This is, again, well, I was going to say in your honor, but it came from you. So
yeah.
But it's knowing what a fan of Halloween you are. So this is a Halloween lager from Tomorrow Brewing Company down in the Big Smoke down in Toronto, 5%. We'll see what's happening there, man. I do enjoy, especially on the back half of the show, a lager. Helps you coast home a little bit, right?
Well, a nice Halloween beer, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you're slowly going to become a Halloween fan.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crisp.
You like that? Nice and cold. It's been in my fridge for about a week.
We should shout out, too, something that's been in my fridge for several months here, sitting beside you, the Lake of Bays Summer
right.
Pack. We should shout out our friend Angela Thompson from the Lake of Bays Brewing. She brought a couple of these summer packs over, and then as we said off the top, you and I have been doing these mostly remotely. So that's been sitting in my fridge, waiting for the next time you were in studio, and I can now say I have successfully made the pass off, made the delivery.
There's a Sasquatch on the mug. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Yeah, there's a mug. There's a couple of beers. I tried those throughout the summer. All nice stuff, man. So thank you again to Angela and the Lake of Bays Brewing
I
Company.
do have a question, though, because we're on the Lake of Bays, but you had one of these packs too, right?
Yeah.
And did you try the Damn It?
I did.
And the Damn It, now, it has a beaver with a beer mug and a backwards blue ball cap.
Yeah.
Please tell me what I believe it's called after. It's named after. Blink-182?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that makes me so happy. I love that this beer, I wasn't sure, but I'm like, it has to be, right? Like, I can't be thinking this. And
when I
and I'm
posted
wrong.
that beer on our Instagram, that is the musical drop I used as well, was the Blink 182. As you and I, a couple of pop punk.
As soon as I see that, I'm like, yeah, backwards cap and Damn It, and 2 M's and Damn It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think it works out.
I may have muttered that phrase a few times, over the last 2 days as the Blue Jays kicked off their ALCS against the Mariners. It may have been a little harsher than Damn It, but there were colorful words used. Jays down 0-2 heading back to Seattle. That would be bad enough. It's for 3 games. This is one of those series where, depending, sometimes it's based on geography, right? Instead of going 2-2, 1-1-1, Toronto to Seattle, it's a bit of a trip. I don't know whether it was always going to be 2-3-2 or if this is based on geography.
They do it in the NBA a lot too. Especially.
Yeah. But they're in a bad spot, man. You lose the first 2 at home. You don't look overly good doing it. The pitching is, they've given up, the bullpen has given up 6 runs.
Mm-hmm.
I just
let it out, man. You're here to
this
rant.
is it. I'm in a safe place.
This is your therapy spot
okay.
here now. You're a bigger Jays fan, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a Jays fan.
No, because
and I feel like you have a lot to say here right now. You're holding yourself back.
I really do.
It's okay.
I will say that the Gosman poll in Game 1, I was fine with it based on what had happened. I do agree with some people who say, they saw a home run right after. So you go, oh, see, it's a mistake. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Like that, I don't have a huge issue with that. But the bullpen is struggling. The go-to guy seems to be Louis Varlin. And while he's only given up 6 hits in the playoffs thus far, 3 of them have been back-breaking home runs. Like just soul-crushing home runs, game-ending home runs. It's the one against Judge in the last round. It's Rowley in Game 1, and it's Rodriguez in Game 2. And while he's mostly been really good, you're getting just hammered. In Game 2, Nathan Lucas, who like shattered his kneecap in game 1 by fouling a ball off his own knee, which looked unbelievably painful. He goes 3 for 4 in game 2. The rest of the lineup combined goes 3 for 23. And these were the games where you had the edge, because Seattle had just gone 5 games with Detroit, went 15 innings in game 5, had to use everybody. You were supposed to jump all over these motherfuckers, and they just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not saying it's over, but you're down 0-2 going on the road for 3 games. Man, the odds are so stacked against you. Do you have, as someone who is less passionate about the Blue Jays, a more even am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? What have you seen here thus far out of these first couple of games, man?
Yeah, it's tough. It also feels like you cannot miss the first inning of a Jays game. This playoffs, right? Like, it's been awesome. More or less last series against the Yankees.
Either jump all over somebody or get pounded out in the first inning.
It feels like the first inning is, if you miss that, you miss like a whole ball game in itself. Good to see George Springer showed up.
Yeah. Yep. Lead off home run, first pitch home run in game 1, made it feel Love that. Here we go.
They were in trouble too, and they were able to kind of fend everything off. And
then game 2, lead off double again. After going down 3-0 in that game 2 first inning, George is showing up. For sure.
And I look at I think the biggest thing that surprised me too is Seattle being so good in game 1 following 15 innings and travel, and they show up and it's like, yeah, we're still vibing off of that game.
As much travel as you could possibly have. They were in Detroit.
Yeah.
So essentially the GTA. They were in the greater Toronto area for game 4. Fly all the fucking way out to Seattle, play one game. That game goes 15 innings, get back on the plane, fly all the fucking way back to Toronto. This was your chance to jump them.
I think dropping game 1 was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It just seems like a team that, and I don't want to say, it's rust or whatever, but, after they wrapped up the series against the Yankees, they had 5 days. And it was like, let's hang out and get ready and get healthy. And, is Bobashek going to be back? We don't know. Probably not. But, he's still rehabbing. And then, it just seems like they weren't able to kind of get going right away. I don't know. I look at the team as the bats aren't as good. The pitching hasn't been that great. Seattle, unfortunately, just looks unbeatable right now.
Yes, they do.
They just look awesome, whether it's the big dumper.
But if we do...
or Polanco, right? Like, these guys are...
Jorge Polanco's killing you right now.
Him especially, right? What does he have? Isn't he 4 of 9? Or, 7 of 9?
And he was a guy, when Minnesota was trading him a year or two ago, I was like, he didn't look that great. His time in Minnesota hadn't been there. We should grab him. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Now he's beating the shit out of you. Yeah. I look at it, the pitching, at least as far as the starters go, I think Gosman was good. And Yasavich, it was going to be impossible for him to live up to what we saw in his first playoffs.
I worried about that, right?
Yeah. Now, there's been a ton of talk amongst Jays fans. Look, umpiring is... umpiring, it's whatever. But against Randy Arozarena in the leadoff spot, everybody thought Yasavich had struck him out to start game 2, including Arozarena. Everyone is getting up and walking away from the plate, including Arozarena. Everyone thinks that's about to be called a strike. It's not. We're back in here. He ends up getting plunked. Now he's on base. And before you know it, fucking 3-run home run. Yeah. And it still was going to be a 2-run home run. But you're like, fuck, that bugs me. And the guy's name, Eddings, I forget his first name. There are websites and stuff that track umpires. In the NHL, it's called scouting the refs. There are similar accounts around baseball that do this for umpire, and said that this guy, Eddings, had one of the worst games ever for a home plate umpire. I should preface this by saying it also hurt the Mariners. It didn't just hurt the Blue Jays. This guy wasn't out to get the Blue Jays. He's just bad at his job. So all of a sudden, though, you're down 3-0, but you do come back. You do dig out. Like, the dome is suddenly rolling again. Everybody's feeling good. But, man, like, everything about that game just felt like it's slipping away, and now you got Bassett coming into the bullpen, not even in a clean inning. Like, that's a starter. You'd love to have been able to give him a better place to start from. Instead, he's coming in a bad spot, like I said, with the bases loaded. Everything just seemed to go wrong. But I do wonder, after that first inning, after that home run, Savage was pretty good. Now, he only got through 5 innings. His stuff didn't look as good as it did in game 1, but it was never going to, right? But, man, that first inning, it hurt you. And even when you did come back to tie it up, that should have been an inning that helps you grab a lead, not just ties up the mistakes you've made in the first inning. The Mariners, I'm with you, man. I don't think this is over. I think the Jays are going to put up a fight, and we'll see if they can get it back to Toronto. But the Mariners look better. They just look like the better team right now. They look like the more complete team right now, and your opportunity when their pitchers were worn out here in games 1 and 2, that's where you needed to jump all over them, and you didn't really do it, especially in game 1. In game 2, they did get through Logan Gilbert and got to the bullpen. Gilbert didn't really have his stuff, but you didn't maximize your opportunity here, and now you're down 0-2 going back to Seattle for 3 games. It's a bad spot to be in, man.
Yeah, the only good thing is, and I really like how baseball does it, of best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, right?
I kind of hate it.
I like it. Okay. I like to build up to it because I think it just adds that. I do think, though, weird enough, the day off and travel to Seattle might be a good thing.
Couldn't hurt.
I don't want to say it's, the Toronto hype and the Jays feel like they're on top of the world after getting rid of the Yankees. And I see people talking about, they won their World Series by, having a guy like Vladdy Jr. talking with David Ortiz about the Yankees lose and blah, 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 blah. And Jays are the biggest thing in the world right now. A day off and traveling to Seattle might not be a bad thing for this team, right? Just, 2 terrible games where you're giving up a lot of runs. Yeah. Your defense hasn't been as great. And that's like a lot of the staples that this team has been. Their bats have been hot. Their pitching has been really good. And their defense has been really good.
Yep.
One game against the Yankees, the defense looked crap, right? But then they bounced back.
Yep.
I look at them being down 0-2. Look, like you said, there's still lots of series left because you don't have to wait if you lose another game. You know what? You still have an opportunity.
Well, it puts you in a bad spot, but but look at it like any other baseball road trip. Take 2 or 3 in Seattle and just come back home. Even if you're down 3-2 when you do it, just get it back home and see what happens.
Exactly.
Go out there and take 2 or 3.
Get your mojo back. And look, they need there's no doubt in my mind, they need a big game from Bieber. Like, that's the big thing. Like, I think.
Because he was not good against the Yankees.
No, I think that's the big thing is they need to get, a pitching dynamite game. They need that. And it's him. He's up next. He was the guy you brought in at the trade.
Have another one, Scherzer in game 4.
Oh, for sure. But you need one though next. You can't be down 0-3.
No. You're right about that.
You can't be down 0-3. You
gotta have this.
And you're cold. Your Bieber's out in the 3rd inning again because he gave up 7 runs, and it's
over at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta get.
You need to start chipping away at this, and I think that the day off of travel, get out of the city. Get out to Seattle, relax a little bit. Get your minds right. Get back to playing defense. Remembering who they are as a team, right? Because that's the big thing is they've shown that they are such a scrappy team and so good and resilient, I think is the big one, right?
Yeah.
I think I was joke texting you when we were talking about it when they lost the Yankees and it was like, that was just the best of 5, but, they were already down, they were up 2-1. It was like, series is over. The Yankees are going to come back now. It's a bullpen game. It's 2-2.
Yeah.
They're going to lose on Friday. Like, it was already, it's kind of like take a breath. I don't want to say it's not over, but I do think that the Jays are a team that's shown, and I'm a Red Sox fan.
Yeah,
I hated how the Yankees were able to kind of do what they did to them, but I look at it as the Jays are a team that's been so consistently resilient this season, and even when they do go through a little bit of a funk, they're able to find a way to bounce back.
Yeah.
Obviously injuries suck, and Bo Bichette is a tough one to lose.
Yep.
And everything's up in the air for him, but I look at the team and I think, okay, this is a team where Vladdy, you need to get your back going.
Wow, he was fantastic through the first round, right?
Yeah. Well, we're in the second round.
Oh, it's good. It's a good point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You need to be that's the thing. The bats have dried up. George Springer is the only one. So we need to see more of the
Clement, I guess, too. But
yeah.
Everybody else. Well, like I said, in that game 2, is 3 for 4 for Nathan Lucas, 3 for 23 for everyone else combined. Not good enough, man. Not good enough.
No, exactly. And, we're used to seeing a team that just gets on base so much too, right?
Yes.
And that's the thing is they're not on base and it's hurting them and their bats just aren't there. And I think Vladdy is a big one, right? When
And that would put the pressure on what is a very bad Mariners defense. If you thought the Yankees defense was bad, the Mariners actually have a lower ranked defense.
And we're making them look great.
Right.
Right.
So you don't get to see that until you put guys on base, force them with some aggressive base running, force them to throw something away, force them to put pressure on. It's just not been there, man.
No. So I feel for Jays fans. I feel for you because I know how you're a Leaf fan, so you have the ultra cynical view on everything in life, and that's why I keep saying we. I'm here to support you here.
I know that, man.
But I look at it as an outside fan, as I think that I'm not stressed about the Jays because I've seen them do this before. I want to see Vladdy get his back going again, and I think that would just get the team going. You go back, I said it feels like if you miss the first inning of a Jays game, how many first innings where Vladdy either has a crushing hit or a home run or something like, again, they need that vibe from the top three. Everything after 3, you're kind of looking at 3 through 9. It's like, yikes.
I want to talk some fights here before we wrap things up, man. I know you're always down for that. And look, we should talk about what lays ahead, and we'll do that in just a second. But I was intrigued, and I hate to start things off with the same shit all the time.
You want to go negative? I'm ready for negative. We just talked about the Jays.
The White House thing.
It's happening.
It's happening. And all of a sudden, John Jones went from, I'm too good to fight Tom Aspinall, to, oh, you're going to make me fight Tom Aspinall? Fuck it, I'm retired. And then like 3 weeks later, the UFC, unrelatedly, and Donald Trump go, we're going to have a fight on the grounds of the White House. And all of a sudden now John Jones is like, actually, I'm not retired. I think I would like to fight on the grounds of the White House. Conor McGregor has also said as much. These are, at this point, the two biggest name brand stars the UFC has. And Dana White has come out and said, yeah, I believe Conor will fight on that show on the grounds of the White House. And whenever he's asked about John Jones, he's like, he's to his credit, he said, I can't trust John Jones right now. I have no idea whether that guy would be ready, whether he'd show up, what might happen between now and then. And John Jones won't be on that card. That is a startling change for the way Dana White talks about John Jones, who has always been one of the UFC's golden geese, I suppose is the term. Were you surprised that they didn't set this up and allow John Jones to go? And more, beyond that, were you surprised that Dana White was willing to come out and go, I for a show this big, I just can't count on that guy?
Well, that's the problem. And I don't think you can count on either.
He's right.
Yeah, no, that's the problem, right? Between Conor and John Jones, they're both very flaky. They kind of want to do what they want to do. They've achieved a lot of what they wanted to achieve inside the octagon. But
Dana has drawn a line between them and said, I believe Conor will do it, and I believe I can't count on John Jones.
I don't know why, based off what, but I feel like there's always been a better relationship between Conor and Dana than John Jones and Dana. Those two always seem to always butt heads, and then they'll come together for a great moment to get a fight together, and then they hate each other again for 7 months because they can't put a fight together between Jones and anybody. So I think that the relationship there is different. Even whenever Conor kind of backs out, it's either like Conor's either not fighting and don't ask me about him, or you know what, Conor's fighting and ask me about him. Sure. It's kind of weird. But John Jones is like, he's not fighting because he's an idiot, or you know what, I don't want to talk about him. I'm sick of Jones. He doesn't do this.
Legal
blah blah
trouble.
blah. Legal troubles. That's the thing. So, and they're both just kind of, whatever. I think my biggest surprise is that it seems like we're actually going to go with this. And if it actually happens, White House, and again, Dana White says it is happening, and I want to wait further down. I'm not going to put too many cards.
Well, it's already been moved from, it's not going to be July 4th, which was the thing.
4th of
now
July,
it's going to be late June and whatever else. And these things happen, I guess.
For sure. But it seems like it is legit happening, which, you know what, good credit to them. The one thing that we've seen from the UFC and Dana White, and, Dana White, he deserves all his credit because whenever he says he's doing something, he kind of does it, right? And whether it be Fight Island, we're going to go buy a fucking island and fight on it. They did. They, you know what? Everybody else, there's no sports in pandemic era. He went and made sure his fighters fought, right? Whether you like him or hate him, the guy is unreal, and he's been the face of the UFC since he's taken that role, and he's done a great job. Now, you look at the last couple of years, I guess the biggest disappointment would be UFC 300, right? That was kind of a very big letdown because he hyped it up himself. I really think he wanted a lot bigger fights than what was on the card.
Couldn't make it happen.
But you look at the Sphere, and that was
was great.
That was a great spectacle, and they had some of their big name guys, especially Sean O'Malley. He's probably one of the bigger face names in the UFC right now. He was able to fight that. I'm sure if they have a White House card. And again, majority of fighters are U.S. They're like John Jones. I mean, Conor McGregor's, he's from Ireland, whatever. But he still wants to be, this guy
and
that's
he's buddy.
And he's the biggest name.
Yes. He is by far their cash
everybody
cow,
in the UFC that's, you think of all the Bryce Mitchells, these, all of these Americans that praise and love and the Donald Trumps.
Game 1, Blue Jays Mariners.
Yeah.
I kept hearing they're starting this number 4 starter, Bryce Miller. I'm like, I fucking hate that guy. I'm like, oh, wait, no.
It's not Bryce Mitchell.
I don't. It's not Bryce Mitchell of the UFC.
Everyone wants to be on that card, though.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of Canadian fighters don't want to be because they don't care. But also, I think if you're a fighter, you want to be on the card.
This is the strangest thing to me, man. And look, I've been through some things, and you and I have talked about this a little bit before. The UFC at this point, based on some of the guys and their vocal political stances, Dana White's relationship with Donald Trump, there are moments where I, as a UFC fan, I'm like, I kind of hate this right now, and I don't want to admit it to people.
That's the biggest thing that sucks about UFC, right?
So are you not, like, there's something about, the NHL isn't playing an outdoor game with the Capitals on the grounds of the White House. Barack Obama was as big of a basketball fan as there is. There were not college games or NBA games. There's a part of me that's like, I cannot believe that part of this 250th anniversary or whatever of the U.S. is going to feature the UFC as the first pro sports entity to be on the grounds of the White House. Like, there's a part of me that's like, I guess it's kind of cool, but everything around it makes me go, this sucks. It's this White House. It's this president. It's these guys. There's something that even as a UFC fan makes me go, oh, the UFC shouldn't be the first, right? Like a Field of Dreams baseball game. Like I said, Obama's basketball. Something else should have been first. I don't know. It makes me feel weird, man.
I don't know, because we see Donald Trump at every damn UFC card getting trotted out with Kid Rock and whoever else is in with them and their little group. But the relationship between Donald Trump and Dana White has been very evident for years, right? They're buddies. You go back to the UFC trying to get on the grounds early on in the early 2000s. They were fighting at a lot of Trump hotels, right? Like this relationship has been around a long time.
Spoke at Trump's inauguration at the whatever they call it, the Republican National Convention.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like these guys are tied together very well. Doesn't surprise me at all that this is happening. The UFC, and honestly, it's really good for the UFC. We're big fight fans. I know that we're in Canada, and
don't you think it further for people who won't even give the UFC a chance? It's savages. It's just guys bare knuckle boxing, and which you and I know better. But don't you think, to that crowd, to a possible left-leaning fan who may or may not be willing to give the UFC a chance, looks and goes, snuggled up to Dana White on this White House lawn, don't you think it gives them an extra reason to go, fuck those guys, I'm not watching that?
No,
you don't think so?
I think it's going to bring more fans, more eyes, especially if they have guys like John Jones and Conor McGregor on the same card. Like, there could be so many different fights and fight matchups. You could, think about Sean O'Malley, right? Another big, proud American, loves Donald Trump. Like, they all love this guy.
They do.
There's a lot of big name fighters that are going to want to be on this card, and they could make this the biggest card of all time. And they really could. The biggest spectacle of all time. Like, we're talking the Sphere. We're talking UFC 100, 200. Like,
it will be iconic.
This is going to be iconic.
There is no question about that. That zoomed out shot when the octagon goes up with the White House in the background. You're right. This will be iconic. But it might also make me cringe a little bit.
And again, whenever you watch a UFC as a fan, do you not cringe already when you constantly see again, Kid Rock, Donald Trump, who I can't remember the other fellow that was with
Tucker Carlson.
There's another one too. Like, the leading, I guess, guy as well, Kash Patel.
He's at
every UFC. Like, look, the White House is very much part of the UFC, it feels like.
Yeah.
And, I'd like to say the same thing too is, how you're a big wrestling guy.
Yeah.
Do you not love that you see Triple H in the White House every other week now?
Love
like
that
it feels
at
like
all.
he's
No, yeah. No, you're right.
And it's weird, but between the UFC and ESPN and all that's going on right now, and
This guy
and
named
WWE.
Dave Meltzer, and he writes a newsletter, and he's like the biggest wrestling journalist.
I was
going
to say he's on every dark side of the ring.
Yes, and so his it's the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and they just had a show the other day in Australia, and they played the American national anthem before the show started, and the Aussies booed the fuck out of it. And they had just been here last February in at the Dome, at the height of elbows up and the 51st state nonsense, and the Canadian crowd booed the fuck out of the American national anthem. And Dave Meltzer on his last pod is like, are these guys not aware of what the rest of the world thinks of us right now? And he goes, you don't have to agree. You don't have to think that's what they should think, but just stop playing the anthem, our anthem, in other countries. It's never going to go well.
No.
Why do you think right now the rest of the world loves you?
Yeah.
We do see that coming up later this month, Tom Aspinall, we've talked about John Jones here a couple of times, the last few times you've been in, and that John Jones just wouldn't fight him. And Tom Aspinall was, by all rights, the number one contender, the next guy in line for a shot at the heavyweight title. And Jones was just, for whatever reason, whether you think he's ducking him, whether you think he just didn't think he was a big enough name, whatever it was, Jones wouldn't fight him. Jones announces his retirement, makes Tom Aspinall, instead of the interim champion, the heavyweight champion. We're going to finally see the heavyweight division move forward. He's facing Cyril Gahn, who's certainly a capable heavyweight. I'm not sure he's the guy I would have wanted Aspinall to face first, but it's not a fight that lacks credibility. Where's the heavyweight division at for you right now, and is this who you would have lined Aspinall up against first?
I think it's at where it needs to be, finally moving.
Yeah.
It's been stalled thanks to John Jones for like 2 years, and I guess Stipe Miocic. Like,
sure,
it is what it is. And look, at Aspinall deserves this fight. I'm happy he's finally going to get it. Whether it's still gone, whoever it is. Look, the heavyweight division has basically been in flux since
held hostage.
Yeah, it held hostage for quite a while now. And look, there's not a lot of guys right now I could say need to fight, but on the card there is already a good couple other guys that are fighting that are going to be leading up to. And
so this is Saturday the 25th.
Yeah, we're talking a couple weeks from now. But, you look at Alexander Volkov versus Jelton Almeida. Like, these are two guys that right now are also, like, Volkov's the second ranked
I like Volkov.
guy. Yeah, that's a 2 versus 5 matchup.
Yeah.
Basically setting up for who fights, Aspinall next.
Yes.
Right? Pavlovich is there, and he's a monster when he can throw. Curtis Blades is whatever. Almeida is a guy that, Waldo Cortez Acosta, I know there's been a lot of hype around him.
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of where the UFC needs to be. And look, he lost to Pavlovich recently, but these are guys that I think finally get to start moving up slowly.
Cyril Gahn a big enough start? Like, everything was going to be a step down from Jones. Was Cyril Gahn a big enough name, or is that just all you got? Like, this is where we have to go first.
I just don't know who else you're fighting. Cyril Gahn is the number one ranked heavyweight right now, other than the champ himself, which is him. And look, Cyril Gahn just beat Alexander Volkov, who is the number 2 ranked guy. He beat Sergey Spivak. Like, you know what? He lost to John Jones when John Jones won that title a couple years ago. I just don't know who else you're facing.
Yeah, you're sort of
you're
stuck.
Kind of, like, he's not fighting Volkov, who just lost to Gahn. He's not fighting Pavlovich. Like, Blades, I think, is what it is. But I just look at that as this is the best fight to get the division going again. And I love that you have a 2 versus 5
right
on the same night
yes.
because Jelton Almeida, like, he's a different kind of heavyweight because he likes jiu-jitsu. He's not a guy that wants to box.
Right.
He wants to take you to the ground, submit you, ground and pound, take over. Like, it's just different, right?
Yep.
So I think we're seeing a couple of the younger guys and new names, fresher names come up. Like, again, Waldo Cortez Acosta, another guy. Like, there's a good couple of these guys that are ranked now. Shamil Gaziev, another guy I forgot about. Mick Perkins. Like, these are all guys that are slowly
on the come.
Yeah, Taliesin Teixeira. Like, Walter Walker. Like, there's a good couple of guys at the bottom in the 12, 13, 14, and 15 rankings for heavyweights that need to start moving up and fighting some of these guys. And, you kind of can't when everyone's waiting for a title shot and then everybody's fighting each other.
The champ, or these guys playing, like nothing could move.
But then you're just eliminating opponents by fighting each other, right? Yes. When you're in the middle guys, you don't really leave much room for a guy that deserves a title shot. So when I look at Cyril Gahn, it's just good to get them going again. Cyril Gahn.
And he's a competent fighter. Like, he's a credible.
Yeah, you need to get guys back in the octagon again. And like I said, when you have, 4 of the top 5, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they're just getting back after it. It's good to see the heavyweight division kind of moving again. I'm looking forward to seeing, a guy like Tom Aspinall back in the octagon. Cyril Gahn.
He's a good guy. He's an exciting fighter. Like, I'm so happy this guy gets to move. Very similar to what I felt, and now he might be right back in the same place. But with Michael Chandler. Stop waiting around for Conor fucking McGregor. It's not going to happen.
I could care less about Michael Chandler.
Well, I know you're, but I felt like that guy just kept waiting and waiting and waiting because there's a major, like, the thing that fans don't understand is half your pay comes from the number of people who buy the pay-per-view and buy tickets to the fight. So if you're lined up to fight Conor McGregor, that is a hard payday to walk away from, right? And they're going to turn around and go, well, instead you can face the number 6 guy in the division and you'll do fine. You'll get picked, but it's not the same. Yeah. So Michael Chandler was stuck waiting for months and months and months until it finally went away. And now the talk is that if McGregor is going to fight at the White House, it'll be against Chandler. I don't know how excited I would be if I'm Chandler to
0
buy into that again.
Well, I don't know how much I want to really watch Chandler fight him either.
Sure.
Chandler has done nothing for me.
I'm with you, but this is... you and I have talked about this before, right? Like, if Conor McGregor, who is not coming back full time, do you want to throw him in and fuck up somebody who might be in line for a title fight? Or is this just a special attraction? Yeah, you go ahead. You fight Michael Chandler. It's not going to mess with our rankings. It's not going to screw anybody else over. But I guess point being that guys get held up based on waiting for other people, right? Mm-hmm. And so... it will be nice to see this heavyweight division finally get moving again.
Yeah.
That's coming at the end of this month. There will be another card in November. And we just saw some details drop for the final show of the year in December, which will also be the final show of the ESPN Plus era of the UFC as they're moving over to Paramount starting in 2026. Anything there in those November or December fights you want to dive into before we wrap up?
Yeah, and even just I want to make sure I shout out it's in Canada this week. Vancouver, Canada.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Rainer Ritter versus Brendan Allen. And it's in Vancouver.
And he's legit, man.
He's pretty good. And you know what? I believe he was supposed to fight somebody else, and Brendan Allen had to jump in.
Yeah.
But I look at Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott, proper Mike Malott.
There you go. You've always liked Malott. You've talked about him quite a
Well, and his brother plays in the NHL. Have you seen a couple of his fights?
No.
Yeah. Oh man, they love each other. Whenever they
UFC fighter on skates.
Yeah, basically, and that's why people get all excited, thinking. And he's had a couple big fights. But I like proper Mike Malott. I think he's a very good Canadian guy that's slowly making his way up.
What's his brother's name? Who's he playing for?
I have to go back up and look for it. But I do know his brother plays. But Manon Farrow, yeah,
I like her a lot.
Vicious. Like that's a huge
fight
for her. But so I'm really looking forward to this weekend, just getting a good couple. And I love Canadian fights because you get like a roster of Canadian fighters that are either making their debuts or having a big moment on home soil. But you can go up and down the card. They always just litter them all in there. So I'm excited to see a good chunk of them having these kind of fights. But the main one I want to just definitely see is proper Mike Malott. But yeah, you have a good couple in there. Jasudovic again, really looking good lately. So I think we're in a spot where I definitely wanted to point out the fact that, in Canada, in Vancouver this weekend, it's a fight night, so you don't have to worry about spending too much money.
Nope.
And it might be a little bit earlier. It's not going to be a 10 o'clock start.
In Vancouver, it might be.
Yeah, so that's the big one I definitely wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Love the fight announcements we got yesterday. Or I guess a couple days ago.
For 323,
Yeah, for 323
That's
because
December in Vegas,
because you got Merab versus Jan 2, which the first fight was very underwhelming because Merab just basically took down Jan the entire time. But there's not a lot of guys that are like Merab in the UFC.
No.
Jan is. Like, he's a guy that can grapple.
Petr Yan,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's probably a better boxer.
Yes.
And he can piece you up, but he's a guy that, he can be a well-rounded fighter. He feels like he just can never put it together. Petr Yan. So I like that, but I really like Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van, talk about taking advantage of a hype train. This guy is nasty. He is good. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. Pantoja, kind of feel bad for him. There's not a lot going on in the flyweight division. And for him, it feels like, you want to fight? Okay, you're getting a title shot now.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Well, you mentioned the hype train, right? Sometimes it's better to just fight that guy now while people are excited about him, and maybe a few more of them will buy the fight, right? And pay some money, especially if there's nothing else going on in the division.
Yeah.
And there really isn't at flyweight right now.
No, and I'm a big Brandon Moreno fan, but
Yes.
he just kind of wins one, loses one.
Well,
Kind of doesn't look the same
He's
anymore.
been around forever. He's not quite the same guy.
Brandon Royval has shown you he's basically useless. Like, he shows up in whatever. Amir Albazi, I think he's eventually going to get a title shot. He's, I'm okay with him. Tara is also very big, but Kai Kara-France, whatever. Manel Cap, whatever. Alex Perez, whatever.
Kara-France, same deal. Been around a bunch of times. Win one, lose one. Maybe get a shot. Maybe don't.
Yeah. So I look at this fight though as Joshua Van. This guy's nasty. He's exciting to watch. You go through his last couple fights, and this guy is just always cleaning people up, whether it be TKOs or just winning.
Yeah.
He beat Royval, and he just made sure that he beat him up. Like, he beat him up big time.
Yeah, left no question.
Yeah, and left no question. Knocked out Bruno Silva. This guy has been there. He's young. He's exciting. He's only 24, man. He's only 24.
Yeah.
But the guy has got some, and his nickname, the Fearless.
Like it.
The Fearless Joshua Van. And so, yeah, I really like that co-main event especially. So definitely looking forward to that. That's a good December card that is exciting as well.
Wind down the year, wind down the ESPN era. Last thing for you quickly. Time is not our friend.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira regains his light heavyweight title. Is he, at this point for you, the face of the UFC? We have this conversation a lot. Sometimes the language barrier makes it tough for certain guys to sell fights. But at this point, he wins in as clear as you possibly can. 80 seconds into the first round, it's a knockout. That's after losing his title back in, was it February or March?
Yeah.
At judge's decision. And that counts. It's all legit, but when you go to the judges, anything can happen. This one he came out, left no doubt. Is Alex Pereira, at this point for you, the biggest name in the UFC, or is there somebody else?
Yeah, I'd like to think he's one of them. It's tough. Ilia Topuria has done a very good job of putting himself in there.
Yeah. Again,
but
yeah,
he's still young and new, and he's
and
still,
again, though English not first language, like this has always been a thing in the UFC.
well,
right?
he could do it.
Yeah.
Beating Charles Oliveira, moving up. What he did with against Max Holloway.
Charles Oliveira just with another big win. That was fun to see.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Bronx.
So I look at, and he's the number one pound for pound, but I think he is. Makhachev, harder time getting behind him because, again, language barrier, whatnot. Marab, I just hate Marab. He's just so not fun to watch. It's just
Just wrestles guys to the ground and holds you there.
And look, but I'm
And it's
also
legit, it's dominant, but it's not fun to watch.
But I'm also gonna, try and get behind Khamzat Chimaev.
Chimaev is the guy.
I think he needs another couple fights to kind of get people going again. But like this guy, the Wolf, like, man, he's dominant.
Yeah.
He's shown. Look, he's never lost. First off, but he could be a very big monster.
He hurt himself by being unreliable, right? Not making weight at
Exactly.
certain times and not being able to. But yeah, no,
he finally got his title shot,
Yes.
and I think that's the big thing. There were a lot of fighters moving into this year. Carlos Ulberg, I think, when you asked me last year, it's funny to look back, but I had a couple names I brought up that to watch this year. Paddy Pimblett was one of them. Carlos Ulberg was another. There's a couple guys that you want to see start to move, trend in the right direction. Both are.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We're looking at those kinds of names that could be faces, and Khamzat Chimaev was definitely one of them as well because I knew he was in a line. If you want to fight, you're going to get a title shot. You just need to do things properly. Maybe it was the wake up call he needed. Now that he's the champ, I'm curious to see what he can do and how he can handle things because moving into next year when kind of you flip the calendar over.
Yep.
I think your main guys who are your faces are Ilia Topuria and Khamzat Chimaev. Alex Pereira, I want to believe he is, but I just think he's a little bit older.
Well, he's the one that stepped up last minute last year too, right, with the broken toe to save fight week. Like they want, like He's a warrior.
Yep.
He's talented, but you're right. Like we're in a bit of a transition, and it feels like we have been for a while, right? We're long past the Kamaru Usman, Izzy Adesanya, even the Volkanovski era. Like, we're past it. Amanda Nunes, like those guys.
She's got to come back and fight Kayla Harrison. Yeah, we all know that,
and that's
right?
going to happen. And that's going to be awesome.
That's White House worthy, I guarantee.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
But I look at it too as,
But we're in a transition period, I guess, was my
especially
point.
for light heavyweight and heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, just to get things going with, like, Tom Aspinall's good, but you look at the light heavyweight division, like, it's kind of been, okay, Ankalaev, not that good. Nobody really likes him.
Yeah.
Damn, how the hell did you beat Predator in the first place?
Yes.
Well, he was injured. He had a bad camp. He was sick, whatever. Yuri, he's always up and down. Like I said, Carlos Ulberg, I do believe, is the future of that division. I think he is really good. But then you go like, okay, Bukovic, whatever.
Seen it.
Yeah. Roundtree, seems to falter every time.
Like him, but no, you're right. He falls short.
Yeah, I love Sweet Dreams, Jamal Hill. Like, I think he's really good. But you can go down light heavyweights, and it's just like, okay, like, there's a couple of guys that are slowly starting to make their way up there. But I just want to start seeing a guy like Pereira. Like, he's already had a couple of ugly losses, right?
Yes.
Whether it be the knockout to Izzy or the loss to Ankalaev. Like, those are two just, If he hadn't had those, I'd say he would be absolutely the face. I think his age, right, being a bit older, like he's not the youngest kid out there anymore. Like, this guy's 38 years old.
But you can see him trying to grab hold of it. Like, he's being more active on social media, more training videos, more so like
language is also always going to be an issue for him too.
And this is it. Like, people get upset when you talk about that, like it's racism. It's not racism. I still love watching the guy fight.
Yeah.
But when you talk about these classic UFC hype videos, right? And the guy doesn't speak English, it just makes it harder to sell the fight. People are less invested. Doesn't mean you don't recognize his talent. Doesn't mean you don't understand that this guy's a killer. It just means, Tito Ortiz or even GSP as a French Canadian, like, didn't talk a lot of shit.
So terrible on the mic.
I know he didn't, but at least you understood what he was saying.
Knock you out.
How many of these killer Brazilians over the last 20 years just weren't quite up to it on the microphone, right?
Yeah.
And it would hurt them. And when you're trying to sell T-shirts and sell pay-per-views and whatever else. So it's a factor, that's all.
Yeah, and if, like I said, I
Fight
think
fans still know.
they'll put up with it, though. Like, that's we've seen that. Like, look at Amanda Nunes, right? Like,
of course, man.
And some fighters just start to slowly learn.
Hardcore fight fans know who the best fighters are. It's just that question of, can we reach outside of that and get the next McGregor, get the next... For whatever you think, Tito Ortiz or Randy Couture or whatever, who can sell fights because they speak English, and that's just a factor in the business. That's all.
Yes, no, it is, and so I look at there's a lot, and Pereira has definitely put himself in a spot where I think there's a good three of them right now that are in the spot. And look, Tom Aspinall with a win and by the end of the month, like,
and that guy's got personality.
Yeah, and again, a heavyweight division that's going to start rolling again. So you look to next year, and you'll have probably next summer. You have a better idea of some of these guys. It's a slow roster turnover. That's the one thing in the UFC. It's very hard to kind of change hands and bring, like,
especially when you only
Tapirio wins another fight or two. He's the face of the UFC. Like, he is. Like, he wins another fight. I think he's already there. He's pretty damn close. And again, when you start seeing guys like O'Malley gets back in the octagon, he's already been a fan favorite. But if he can get back into winning and put himself in a spot to earn a title shot again, that's a guy that
100%.
Definitely brings in the eyeballs.
Big personality, big character.
Yeah, but I think a Pereira versus Ulberg fight is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge. And I know that, there's a lot that is going on in the light heavyweight division. And, there's other guys that say they deserve title shots, whether it be Yuri, who just had another big win, and he's trying to call
he's already fought Pereira.
Yeah, I don't want to see that again. Get Ulberg in there.
Twice.
Yeah, I like the fact that like I said, I love that we're seeing Joshua Van versus Pantoja. Two young guys, two exciting guys, two fast guys that are have a thrilling, kind of fight style to them. But we need to start seeing that. More of these younger guys that work their way up and deserve kind of title shots. I think that Carlos Ulberg has shown he deserves one. In the heavyweight division, we're seeing that Tom Aspinall is finally getting one. Cyril Gane, whatever it is, he's there. It's to start moving these divisions forward, turning over new faces of the UFC. That's a big thing to see. So I'm looking forward to some, the next couple months here,
man.
Yeah, because I feel like next year is a big year for the UFC, not just because of the White House card, but because you're going to start seeing a lot of these new names kind of turn over and become and make themselves stars.
Steve Bunda, always a star on this show, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming back in. Like I said, we've done a bunch of these here recently online, cottage to cottage, and
Which is really cool. We did that.
That was awesome. Allows us both to have our feet up, and well, it's not like we didn't have a pint here, but cottage pints are just on another level.
A little bit colder, a little more, probably a couple more of them. Yeah,
better. Yeah. Appreciate you coming back in, man, and at like the busiest time of year there is for sports, right? Between playoff baseball, the NFL, college football for people who are into that, hockey's back up, NBA's just about to fire up. There's always something on, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and you forgot Halloween. Horror movies.
I would never forget Halloween.
Never. 17 days. 16 if you're listening. Maybe 15.
There you go.
Who knows?
We will wrap it up here.
And closer to Halloween.
And it's funny, man, when I check into your Instagram, like your story is always
there's something.
The movie of the day and the Halloween movie theme in the background, which is catchy. It's iconic. Yeah. So for Steve Bunda, my name is Matt Robinson. Thank you so much for listening. We got tons more to come here later this week. You're going to hear from Andy Petrillo. She's got a new book coming out. You're going to talk to Ian McMartin from the Whippersnapper Brewing Company. They have a start of the hockey season beer out. So lots of good stuff to come. For Steve Bunda, my name is Matt Robinson. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you later on in the week.
I've got nothing here. You're giving me baseball and hockey, and I got my keister blowing in the wind. That made to look like a fool here. That's just dumb. I don't want anything to do with this place. This place is run by a bunch of children.